Alright guys, how you all doing? Today I'm going to be talking about, so this is my title today, Love Yourself. And I'm sure you all know the Justin Bieber song. I think that's an absolute tune, like, yeah, I think it's a great song. I mean the meaning is maybe not so great, but I don't know, I just like the melody and stuff, like, I learned that on guitar straight away. But yeah, I just thought the title was befitting because I want to talk about value and self-worth today. So, in today's society, we see many contrasting impressions or ideas of what value is or what's valuable. Like a person who's maybe more good looking than someone else, they might be considered more valuable in certain ways. Like media often portrays that, right? Or maybe even the Forbes rich list, you know, as there's the top 100 richest people, Bill Gates at the top, and stuff like that. And, you know, people often think that's how value is determined, but I want to explain today how you get a much deeper understanding of value if you see it in a different way. So, I want to ask you guys, what are some specific things that you value, like really personal things? Honesty? Or like a specific object or person or something like that? Phone? Okay. Yeah? Friendship?
My keyboard.
Keyboard, okay. Nice. Yeah, me personally, I have this teddy which I really value. I've had it since I was like 5 years old. My neighbours gave it to me, and yeah, he's called Teddington Amadeus Jr. And basically, I want to illustrate how value is determined using my teddy. So, I want to make a hypothesis. There's no such thing as inherent value. This is probably like a really bold thing to say, but I wanna show you what I mean by this. So let's go back to the beginning of Taj's life. It was probably in a factory somewhere. I don't know where. Could be anywhere. Could have even been England. Could have been like France or something. And the factory workers just finished doing the last stitches. And yeah, at this point, does he have any value? He's chucked there on a cart. Does he have any value at that point, would you say? No, he can't do anything. He's inanimate. He's got no, I mean, what's his purpose? He can't be there for a child, you know? He's created so that he can be there with a child, that a child can cuddle him and sleep with him. Yeah. So he's not valuable. Now I want to fast forward a few years. I'm in bed, I'm cuddling Taj, and my mum comes and tucks me in. At this point, does he have value? Yeah, he's got a lot of value. He's completely fulfilling his purpose. He's bringing a child joy, and yeah, so he's fulfilling the purpose for which he was created. So what can we learn from this? Value can only exist within a relationship. It's not something that stands on its own. It's the product of a relationship. And it comes about when something fulfills its inherent purpose. So, this seems very vague, I guess. You know, it's maybe just a theory. It's not something that I can really apply to my own life, perhaps. But I want to share with you a story of something I experienced and how from that I could apply this idea to my life. So, I went to quite a rough secondary school from year 7. And it was very difficult for me to acclimatize to this new environment. You know, in primary school, things are really relaxed. You just play games a lot. There's not much focus on studying and stuff. Friendships are all really calm. And suddenly I came to this new school, this new environment, and the surroundings were very harsh. You know, people speak in a very vulgar way, very openly, and it was very difficult for me. You know, I was very soft at this point. I think it was because, you know, my mum, she's very soft, I think. She has a very beautiful heart, you know, but, you know, maybe it's very feminine, she's very feminine, I guess. She's always been very lenient towards me and my sister, and I spent a lot more time with my mum growing up than I do with my dad, and I guess that reflected on me in a way. So I wasn't able to cope with this in school, basically. And yeah, I became very insecure. This was me back then. Yeah, as you see, quite a lot of chub there, and yeah, I was very insecure about this. Like maybe you can't see it so much, but I really didn't have any confidence. Basically, I didn't have an understanding of who I was. I let myself get affected by the people around me, and it was very difficult for me. So I lost sight of the things. I lost sight of the things that made me important. I couldn't see the love my mum was giving to me, and all I could see was just my appearance, or maybe I wasn't as popular as the other kids for whatever reason. So yeah. Then in year 9, I moved to a new school, thankfully, and yeah, it was pretty much the same again. Like, people weren't as vulgar, I guess, but it was going into a completely new environment once again. It was very tough for me. So for the first few months, I just lived for the times where I could be with my family or friends on the weekend, you know what I mean? And or for workshops organized by people like CARP and stuff. That's all I would really live for at that point. And you know, I was depressed. I was very young. I was only 13, 14, but I couldn't see what made me important. And then randomly one day I was in school, and this Asian dude called Anthony, he just approached me and randomly started speaking to me. He told me how he'd seen me in the summer when I was going shopping for my school clothes, and he said I had like this massive backpack. You call it a jetpack because it's so big. Like you know the ones I mean. Like you see year 7s carrying them. Like I tried to stuff all of my uniform that I'd bought that day into that bag, and I couldn't squeeze it in and stuff. And apparently it was just like hilarious for him. And yeah, he said he'd been wanting to approach me for a while, but he couldn't bring himself to do it yet. But then he just decided to talk to me. And yeah, it turns out that we got the same bus home from school, so we saw a lot of each other, and yeah, we got to know each other's circumstances very well. He has an illness which affects his digestion and stuff quite a lot, and it's very difficult for him because he misses a lot of school, which affects his education. And then I shared stuff about my family and things I'd gone through, and we got really deep. We were only in year 9, but it was fantastic. And for some reason, I didn't know why, he would always point out things he saw that were good about me. Like, he said, "Oh, you're so good at maths, I really envy you, you're amazing." He would say stuff like this to me. I'd never heard this before in a school environment, and that was just, it really helped me. He even told me, "I don't know my own strength." He said this to me. Stuff like this in year 9, it's so deep. He said, you know, I could use when playing football, he said I could use my body mass to strengthen out other players and stuff. He would tell me stuff like this. And then, you know, he said, "You don't know your own strength." And I took that not just to mean that, but also internally. Like, he taught me such deep things. So yeah. As I said, until that point, I was very soft and perhaps a bit of a pushover. I would very easily be affected by other people. But that one line stuck with me all these years. Like, it's kind of a mantra for me. And yeah, it really helped a lot. Yeah. Until then, I'd only seen things that were negative. As I said, like, I just looked at my appearance and stuff like that. But he showed me my value, so it was really a huge confidence boost for me at the ideal time. He helped me come to know myself, come to appreciate myself. So that's the end of my story. So how does my idea apply here, that value comes from a relationship, or that it comes when you fulfill a purpose? Well, value is often judged by the number of awards someone's won, like Leonardo DiCaprio, for example. I think he's a fantastic actor. Like, he's amazing. Like, in Wolf of Wall Street, that's probably not the best example, but in like The Aviator, Shutter Island, stuff like that, he was phenomenal. And until just a few weeks ago, he hadn't won an Oscar. Like, that clearly illustrates how bad a determinant that is, how many awards you've won. You can still be fantastic without winning an award. So yeah, there's always this idea where our value comes from comparing to others, and it's kind of a crippled version of what I said, a twisted version of what I said. I said that it comes when you have a good relationship with something, when you fulfill your purpose. but it's the idea that that person's better than me, he has more value than me. That's what people often feel. But my value does not come from such superficial things as appearance, popularity, what clothes I wear, my wealth financially, because these things don't last. I don't want to put my faith in something that wavers from time to time. You know, currency isn't constant, it's constantly changing. You know, people that put all their hopes in the stock market, they often fail because of this. And clothes, look how much trends change. Like, it's crazy. Like, if you see even with appearance, around the world there's completely different standards. You know, like a man in, this is just a random example, maybe a man in like India is more attractive if he's a bit skinnier. That's, I thought I saw on BuzzFeed or something. And then, like, you know the video, like where they Photoshop people, but a man in maybe America is more attractive if he's really built or something. You know, the fact that not even within this day and age, our standards for beauty are constant is very telling of how that's not the right way to determine your value. And even with popularity, I know many people who are very popular, but they're so insecure. Like, they don't have a clue of where they're going. You know, you ask them, what do you want to do at university, or what do you want to do after university even? What do you want to do with your life? They're very much fixated on what degree they're doing, and that's all they've got planned. Like, if you ask them what comes afterwards, there's nothing. So yeah. So I'll share personally what I feel is where my value comes from. I grew up in a family where a belief of God is advocated, and yeah, I've developed what I consider to be a personal relationship with God over the years. So if I'm saying that our value comes from the purpose for which we're living, the purpose for which we're created, then for me that obviously comes from God. God created me. And why did he create me? For me, it's because he wants to experience joy. He needs another partner to experience joy. So that's what I'm here for. My value comes from how I fulfill that purpose. Yeah, I think what God wants more than anything from me is for me to fulfill my potential. You know, every person is completely unique. There's no two people that are the same. Like, even twins, they're often very different in their character. One might be very irritable and one might be very passive. You know, it's no one is the same. Yeah, you know, even if you find someone with the same interests as you, you might not always get along with them because there might be some aspects of their character which is different to you. Yeah. I think the fact that we are unique, we're all unique because we have the ability to make choices, we have that freedom, and we also have the ability to mess up, really, you know, and it's from that we are so important, because I believe God wants each of us to touch an aspect of his heart, and, you know, because each of us is unique, we're the only person that's able to touch that specific aspect of his heart, and without us, there's a gaping hole there, there's something missing from him, and it's very painful for him. So that really illustrates how valuable every person is. You know, there's no two people the same. Never in history will there be another person just like you. Never will there be another person, never has there been another person just like you. And there isn't anyone on earth just like you. That's crazy if you think about it. You know, imagine how much you can do, you yourself. Yeah. And obviously this may not be the case for everyone. You know, I'm not saying everyone has to believe in God. It's your personal decision. I think people who don't believe in God, you can still practice this idea which I've suggested. If you find a purpose for your life which you can really devote yourself to, something, I mean, for example, one of my heroes is Carl Sagan. He's an astrobiologist, and his whole life is basically all about spreading the wonders of physics and science to other people, to laymen in a way. So he wrote lots of books, he presented TV shows where he tried to inspire people with wonderment about science. And, you know, that's a purpose which he could really dedicate to himself to. And I would say he is extremely valuable because he did that. So even if you don't believe in God, if you have that definite purpose which you want to fulfill with your life and which you want to use your uniqueness to follow, you're extremely valuable. So yeah, And as our potential is infinite, every person has infinite potential. There's no like clear line, like you can't know anything more than this. Because of that, your value is infinite as well. Yeah. So, I'm going to move on to a bit of a different point. I'm going to talk about coming to terms with yourself and knowing yourself and appreciating yourself. So, maybe I'll actually talk about this. Okay. So this is kind of what I was talking about, how we often compare up in a way. We compare to people that we consider to be better than ourselves, and then we say, oh, he has more value than me. So this image has been circulating on Facebook recently, and I mean, it's more about gratitude and stuff, but I still think it applies here because, you know, we're never grateful for what we have, if you know what I mean. If we base our value on things like this, you know, having a nicer car than what we already have, or having a bike, I can't really blame him for wanting to walk, but like for them, if you base your value on things like this, then you're very shallow and you can't be grateful, I think. Yeah. It's like it's a twisted version of how we should really find our value. Okay. So, yeah. I think this image really illustrates something special. If you look in the horizon, there's literally probably hundreds of thousands of flowers here. And that's really how it often feels for us. You know, maybe we're all beautiful, like one of these flowers. You know, we're really, amazing. I think every person can see some sort of value in themselves. But when we compare ourselves to all the masses of people around us, we think we're just the same as everyone else. And how can I be important if I'm just another normal person, another average person? You know, there's 7.4 billion people in the world. Like, that's crazy. You know, I mean, it's crazy how much it's going up lately as well. But what makes me so important amongst all these other people? Well, again, I really think it's about how we're unique. So no two people are alike, if you think about it. I mean, yeah, this really doesn't illustrate it so clearly because they all basically are alike. But imagine that every one of these flowers is a different color. That's a better depiction of it. Because everyone's so unique, we have the potential to contribute something to the world which no one can do apart from us, you know? You could change someone's life, you could melt someone's heart. Like, there might be someone who's very stubborn or very closed. You could melt their heart. You might be the only person that's able to do that because of the way you approach them in that relationship. You know, there's definitely something you can give. Yeah. So I think because of that, you're more than necessary. I think you're indispensable. There can't be a world without you. That's what I really feel. Yeah, because if you weren't here, maybe another person's life would suck. Maybe there'll be some knowledge that would not be able to be obtained because you weren't there. So you really have to strive and realize that value because otherwise there's a huge hole in the world. And I think too often we forget that. And I want to talk about how we can see the value in ourselves and how we don't forget that. Yeah, so I want to talk about something called self-maintenance. I kind of came up with this word myself and then I found it was a real word, so I was pretty gassed about that. But yeah, if you think about it, everything is all based on individuals, isn't it? Like, you think about like the Conservative Party or something, it all starts from one person. You know, like, let's look at society in general. You have families, you have communities, you have societies. It all starts from one person. Like, I'm Beni Vitae, then there's my Vitae family, then there's probably like some Hungarian clan, and then from there you get a Hungarian society. And you see what I mean? Like, it all starts from one person. Society is inherently built up of individuals. So if individuals aren't okay, like if I'm struggling in myself, not knowing who I am, if I don't feel important, then surely those families, societies, and the world ultimately are gonna fail. They're gonna collapse, isn't it? Because no one's secure. So I think it's extremely important to take care of ourselves, to take some time out just for me. You know, it could be going to a cafe, it could be going out for nice walks. That's something I do a lot. There's a forest just behind my house, and you know, when I'm feeling stressed and I just want to clear things up in my head, I often go there and just take a walk around. I smell the beautiful air, the fresh air. I take in the beautiful green in the trees and stuff. I think that's extremely important because, because that helps us realize what's going on in ourselves, helps us sort those things out. Initially, I personally thought this was really selfish because I think it's much better to serve other people. That's really important. But then I was talking to one of my friends called Kensei, and he told me that, because I was struggling at that time, I was talking to him and he said, you know, Benny, you should take some time out just for you. I did this, and he told me how once he went to a cafe and he just bought this huge breakfast, like this massive plate, just for him. And he said that really helped him have a better day because he was happier himself, because he felt more valuable. Then throughout the rest of the day, he was able to better love other people, and he could really, make a better change in other people's lives. So I want you guys to all try this out now. So you know, you hear about these appreciation groups. Like, I've heard a lot of universities have these. Like, I think UCL has a Beyonce appreciation group, and there's like I think there's like Tom Cruise ones and stuff, and like, you know, there's lots of ones for random hobbies and random little things like this. But there's never really one which is a self-appreciation group. This is about an individual, about the preciousness of an individual. And so I want to form this group of you guys now. We're going to make our own society. And these are our, what's it called? You know, in the Constitution, what's it called? These are like our founding principles. To see the value in every other human being, in every human being, and freely express it, and to develop self-confidence. By this I mean knowing who I myself am, and stuff like that. So I want to do a little activity. So you've all got papers and pens, yeah? Could you each get a paper and a pen? Okay, I guess you guys can start thinking already, but I want you all to write at least 3, I would say, like preferably more, at least 3 things that you yourself think is awesome about yourself. So 3 things that are just, that you stand out in, that you're above, that you punch way above your weight in. I think everyone has something like that. It might seem like you feel a bit guilty because you've been a bit cocky and stuff, but trust me, this will work, it's good. It's not cockiness, it's confidence, I think. So 3 things you're really, really good at. Just write that down for now. All right, I guess those of you who are already done can go into the next one already. The next part is, for each of them 3 things, I want you to write down a way that you can use that skill or that attribute to live for others or to do something meaningful with it. So I hope that was really meaningful and useful for all of you. I'm sure now you can really vividly see how important and valuable you are. So you know, your value is much greater than just your body or your wealth and stuff like that. And I hope that through this talk you could really see that you're very important. Each of you has infinite value. And I want to start with something perhaps end with something perhaps irrelevant but really inspirational for me. This is Carl Sagan, the guy I was talking about. He's my favorite scientist, and he did a TV show called Cosmos, where he basically takes the viewer on a guided tour throughout the whole universe. You know, it takes you to distant galaxies, and you get to see so many very strange planets and stuff like this, where life is completely different. And at one point in the show, he describes how stars are formed, and he says like how also ultimately every piece of matter in the whole universe originates from the same tiny infinitesimal point at the Big Bang. And you know, he explains how through this, the same stuff that is in the stars, that exists in us as well. So we are made of star stuff. You know, when I look at the universe and I look at how insignificant I seem, it's sometimes overburdening, and it's just insane if you think about the kind of magnitudes we're talking about here with the universe. And you think you mean nothing, basically, because there's so much more out there. But the fact is that all of that massive stuff out there, the stars, the most crazy stars, they all exist within you as well. So not only are we studying the cosmos, but we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. So let's take this one quote with you. We are made of star stuff. So yeah, and I mean that literally and figuratively as well. So yeah, make of that what you will, and thank you for everything tonight. Take care.
Next Tuesday, we're going to have principal lecture practice. That will be here in the cafe, in Lancaster Gate. And next Wednesday, on the 30th of March, there will be another CARP talk. So basically like this, a TED talk, but for your spirit. Yeah. Okay, thank you everyone for coming.